What's good, wagering world? It's your boy, Star in Vegas, broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada. This is the wagering world. I'm in here with my co-host, man. He's been with me since day one, the only Sacramento Kings fan that I know. What's good, Spread Astaire? How are you today?
Man, other than the rough night we had on Monday night, thank God for the tennis we gave out on that last show, right? But we're going to be getting into all that. But that's what we do here. People think you bet sports, you just make money every single time. I always tell people, hey, if I give you a pick, it's not guaranteed. It's just about 54 to 57% likely, right? And that's about the clip I've had over the last 7 years. So disappointing to give back all those Sunday profits on that Monday Night Football game. But we'll have plenty to talk about with what we saw there because, one of them, I think, was a bad handicap. The other one felt like a bad beat, and there might have been some officiating involved there. How are you doing today?
Man, when is it officiating involved or something when it comes to these games, whether it's the NFL or, the blockbuster college football games, but it's all part of the grind. It kind of comes with the territory. If you've been doing this long, Spread and I have been doing it, you have to factor all of that in. But the thing about it is even though you factor it in, how can you use it as a handicap? You know what I mean? So you live with it, you learn from it. We use it to grade ourselves. That's why we always say bad beat, bad break, bad handicap, because you want to see if when you make these wagers, even if you come up short, whether it was the right side, because it can be the right side even when it didn't turn out your way. And sometimes you make a bad play and it still ends up cashing. So we all want the cash to our bank account, but if you're going to do this long term, you have to come up with a science to it and understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. I appreciate everyone. I know a lot of you in the Houston area probably on your ride home from work, caught up in all that traffic. So we appreciate you guys from tuning in. We usually do mornings, but me and Spread are trying to work with each other and figure out a good time to work so that we can always be up for you guys on Mondays and Wednesdays, give you the information and continue to give you these winners. Spread, big news in the NFL today. Kevin Stefanski is finally, I guess he got threatened with, someone filing a lawsuit on him for elderly endangerment. So now Kevin Stefanski is finally going to bench poor Joe Flacco and let Flacco get back to what he came to Cleveland to do, and that's hold a clipboard. So what do you think about him saying Dylan Gabriel is the quarterback, but also what do you think about him making sure to let people know that the third on the depth chart is Shedeur Sanders?
I was all ready to come on here fired up, right? Just right in lockstep with you that this is crazy about Shedeur.
Right.
But did you see that interview he did?
No, I missed it. I have to go watch it. What did he say?
There's nothing to say. He mimes. He sits there and he just moves his mouth without saying anything. It's the weirdest thing I've seen. So maybe not the weirdest.
Also, he did an interview where he didn't say anything.
But he's moving his mouth and making gestures.
Because he's tired of the bull crap, all of the foolishness.
But the only thing I would say is at this point, you're auditioning for the job, right? And it's how hard is it to just get up there and be like, you know what, I'm disappointed. I think that I put up better tape than him, but, I'm going to go with what the coaches say. And, I'm ready when they give me a chance. And that's it. Interview over. I mean, I'm wondering what he's doing backstage, if that's what he's doing. Or not backstage, right? But behind the scenes, if that's what he's doing.
He's not doing anything behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, he's terrified. He's trying to kiss their butts because he wants to play, and he's doing everything they're saying to do. He's tired of the media, man. If you put yourself in the shoes of someone who every day you're trying to do everything right, and then you as a third-string quarterback working to try to get a position, every day you're on the news or someone saying something about you, but they're saying it's your fault that you're on the news. When all it is really these people in the NFL, people on X and people on Instagram, wherever it may be, any outlet, they're using him as a way to get clicks on their page. So they're bringing up Shedeur over and over because of his popularity. And he's the victim of that. I don't think he's like, what is he doing to make
more? I just think that if you want the job, you act like it. Like, I mean, I hate to sound like coward, right? But like Tom Brady and Manning and
you're supposed to do, and if you do everything you're supposed to do,
but you're supposed to answer these questions.
Yeah, man. But at a certain point, when are you gonna get tired of, like, Dylan Gabriel shot another slug at him again in the interview today when he was saying something about timing and perfect timing and trying to, be cute and stuff. So it's obvious those two don't like each other because I'm sure Shador thinks he's better than him, which he is.
Well, he is, but he's got to act the part too. It's not just, especially quarterback, it's not just play on the field.
He's in the wrong place, Brett, and I hope it's the right place as far as in it's the quickest entry to being a starter and getting on the field, but it's the wrong place with the history of them and quarterbacks, the history with them and how they treat talent, the history of them just being a bum-ass franchise who doesn't know how to move forward into the new century and to understand that athletes are different. Everyone's celebrating Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart just was dancing in the end zone. I thought they said they didn't like quarterbacks doing all that stuff. But when he did,
I agree with you. I was arguing with Tyler and Jamie yesterday, right? Because they're younger and they're and I actually brought up Tom Brady and Tom Brady did an interview and I don't know if it was a Coward or it was with one of the guys, Dan Patrick maybe.
And he shot a slug at Shador.
I saw it wasn't at Shador. Yeah, it wasn't at Shador. He said when I watch a game, I look at how does a player react, celebrate. Does he celebrate with his teammates or does he make it about himself? And I felt Jackson Dart made it about himself by doing that dance. But I guess
Josh Allen does that at times as well. It just depends on how hype you are for the play that you just made. It was Jackson Dart's first touchdown ever. So of course he's going to act like that. So it's just a lot of double standards. And the thing about it with Shador is with the wealth that he has, not only by being a second generation millionaire, but also coming from, a family with a lot of dignity, he's just not going to play a lot of the games they want him to play. Because at what point does it stop before you start completely changing who I am? And I have no problem with it when him continue. Like I get tired of playing the games too. Like I told you, if I was his dad, I wouldn't even let him play it in the NFL. I would have let everyone talk all the mess they want to and sent them to the CFL or somewhere. Because why would you play somewhere where the people are going far and beyond to show you that you're not wanted? But see how things are going to play themselves out is just how life works. I guarantee you, Dylan Gabriel, even if he does well, his body's not going to hold up, man.
First of all, Dylan Gabriel is going to be the worst quarterback in the league. I mean, what about his college tape? Even said pro player.
Yeah,
I didn't see a pro player at all.
Yeah,
I think AJ McCarron had better college tape than him.
But they're going to try to give him every type of way because Stefanski is trying to use him as someone to prove that the NFL was right about Shador. So that's why I say, like, it's all a bunch of craziness. I feel like they would have cut him if it not for the owner. The owner probably was like, hell no, he's selling jerseys. We're not going to let another team sign him and get the money because it was a couple teams that were willing to go there, but most of the teams that were willing to deal with him were in situations where he would have been the backup. We know the Ravens, they've had a long history of not caring about, having different style quarterbacks and different type of guys, different egos, different type of, just people play the position. So they reached out. I'm sure that was more Ozzie Newsome probably telling the owner, and the owner's kind of around the way guy too. But Shador didn't want to play there because why am I going to play there? And Lamar Jackson is in his prime for the next decade and a half, maybe, the way that medicine is now. I'm never going to touch the field. Like, this is his franchise. This is what he built.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I have so much respect.
I didn't have a problem with that either, right? I mean,
but that's what they're using now. They're like saying, now you cry because you third string, but look, this
started.
I'm
just saying by doing this and not just showing up.
Bullshit. When people have it out for people and you don't understand this unless you walked on that side of the fence, and I have, my whole life. When you're in certain businesses, man, and when they got it out for you and they're trying to prove a point, they just don't like who you are or where you're from or what you represent, it's nothing you can do right. My grandfather taught me a long time ago, you cannot make people who don't like you. And that's what he's dealing with. And he's tired of it. So now he's doing the mime interviews because it doesn't matter what I say. That's what he's saying. No matter what I say, you guys are going to write what you think. You're going to put a twist to it. You're going to take it. You're going to edit and splice it, throw it on social media, and make it look like I'm the villain. You're going to make it like you're talking about me, and all I'm doing is coming to work. I'm a third-string quarterback. They tried to show a video got edited where Shador was making a face like, man, I can't believe that he was talking about something completely different, but someone made a video on social media to make it seem like he was talking about after a play that Joe Flacco made. But luckily, it was a guy from the Cleveland media who actually works for the team and does video who called it out and was like, hey, man, this is BS. He didn't do that. They were talking about something completely different. They took that and edited that. So you get at a certain point, man, where you don't have to deal with it. It's not like he has to kiss the NFL's ass to be rich like a lot of these kids do. A lot of these kids take so much. Like, they have to be a part of the shield. He doesn't have to be at this point, you know? So I understand everything he's doing. You want to show your talent, but hey, maybe just not meant for you, because at what point are you going to say this is enough? Like, I'm not going to go all out just because I want to prove to people so bad something, when the people who are the puppet masters, the ones who hold the strings, they don't want me as one of the puppets. So, I mean, it makes sense to me completely.
Yeah, like I said, if I were advising him, I would say just do what's right and prove the people wrong by rising above it and being better. Because just like the difference between being an assistant coach and head coach, if I'm an assistant coach, I don't need to talk to the media, right? A wide receiver or a running back or a defensive lineman, but your head coach and your quarterback are going to have to answer those tough questions, you know? And sometimes it's annoying, right? Like, I was pretty annoyed watching Geno Smith just going.
But this is my problem, Fred, with all of this stuff, okay? Like, if we're going to be real about everything and we keep it real on the Waging World, y'all hit that like button if y'all rock with the Waging World. The press, the media, the NFL, they're all based upon a bunch of negativity, negative energy. And how I know it's negative energy is because they praise you for a lie and they'll tear you down for telling the truth. They get mad at these young athletes because they will not step to a podium and lie for them. When things are wrong, they want them to say they're right. When things are all fucked up, they want them to say that, oh, they're all good. That's lying, man. That's not how I feel. But you're rewarded in this negative energy. That's the NFL, and that's this professional sports world that's still Hollywood. It's all entertainment, for making yourself a worse person. So I have no problem with him doing that, because when are you going to say for yourself, like, man, I'm tired of lying. I'm tired of playing the game. I'm tired of being somebody I'm not just to appease them. So, you know, when I say it's us versus the machine over here, that's what I really mean, because, you know, I've been dealing with having to book the system my whole life, and then I learned how to live within the rules of the system and the game, and I've lived a great life. My best thing to tell to Shador, instead of dealing with all that mess, just become independent. Go start a media company or something, man. You don't have to play football. Go train kids, teach them how to play quarterback. You don't have to forget about who you are and be somebody that you don't want to be in order to play in these people's league. Let them have that league.
All right. Well, we might disagree on how he should handle the media, but we both agree that he probably deserves a starting job over Dillon Gabriel. And I think it's going to be an absolute.
He'll play this year's spread. We already know that. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. But Kevin Stefanski is going to try to I don't think Kevin Stefanski is going to call the plays for him that he's going to call for Dillon Gabriel. He's going to highlight Dillon Gabriel's and try to get him in situations to play well with quick passes, hurrying up the offense, doing a lot of shotgun. He's going to try to make Shador play with the whole package.
Stefanski thinks this is his Malik Willis, Matt LaFleur moment, right? Exactly. Remember how Matt LaFleur did that? And let's give Matt LaFleur credit. He accentuated Willis's strengths while hiding his weaknesses through a game plan. This is what Stefanski thinks he's going to do, rather than just letting the more talented guy play.
It's so stupid. And I would take this approach if I was that organization. If I'm Andrew Berry and Stefanski, why the hell are you so hell-bent on being right because you're saying, okay, we took Dillon Gabriel first, so we're going to let him play first? Because there's nothing in hell he's doing in practice that's way more impressive than Shador. It's just that, like I said,
and they only on the tape. I mean, Brock Purdy was a 7th-round pick, and I think you'll agree with me here. Even Purdy's college tape, let's just call it college tape, it's better than what Dillon Gabriel put up. Me and Tyler argue about quote-unquote system quarterbacks all the time, but I mean, Dillon Gabriel has like 1/10 the talent of Bo Nix in my mind. And I don't even think Nix is like an elite talent either.
Dillon Gabriel is a Dollar Tree version of Tua. Tua is the best version of a Tua type quarterback that you can be, undersized, left-handed, accurate as hell, and kind of quick within short spaces. Dillon Gabriel is half of him, and how difficult time does Tua have it making it through one game? Just one full game without getting injured, right? So that's the thing for me. He's never learned how to protect himself. He didn't protect himself in college. That's why he, broke his hip, tore his knee up, he's been hurt a lot of times. So it's going to be a bunch of clamor for the fans after whatever happens and plays out him from the play Shador, but they could have ended this right now and just said, you guys think he's so good? We're putting him out there now. We're going to see since you guys think.
And to be fair, if they wanted to make him look bad, this is a tough place to start. I think Brian Flores has got one of the toughest defenses to read. It's an international game, so you got to deal with getting through customs. It's not going to be a normal flight to New York or anything. And these guys can get on TV and say whatever they want, like the Cowards and the Nick Wrights and the Stephen A. Smiths, right? But the sports books do the talking, right? And they tell you what they think of Dillon Gabriel. 5-star, the total on that game offshore right now is 36.
Oh my God.
It's like a first half of a WNBA game. 36 total for an NFL game.
Bad quarterbacking on both sides because Carson Wentz.
Well, I mean, that's why, but I'm just saying when you do 3.5, that tells me that they expect it's a team total of like 15. I mean, they don't expect him to do well. So Stefanski and Barry can say all they like, but the markets, right, which are the ultimate truth tellers, I just told Shador to get up there and BS, right? And you disagreed with that, blah, 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 blah. But the ultimate truth teller is the market, and the market's saying neither of these guys are good.
Yeah, and what's going on with Colin? I don't even listen to Colin anymore like I used to.
I kind of stopped too.
Because since he's gotten up in life and he has big aspirations. He moved back to Chicago because he's trying to buy into the Bears. He wants to be a part owner of either the Bears or the Bulls, and he sees an opportunity out there. That's where his wife is from. He has big aspirations, or he wants to try to, get an NFL team to give him an opportunity to work in the front office as a GM or a president. So now he's he used to kind of say the things that were the truth when it came to just knowing ball, but man, he's starting to fall off with that mess too.
Well, he got to protect his sources too. He knows half the GMs in the league, so you can tell the GMs that he talks to because he picks those teams every week, and he talks about how smart the organization is every week, and the guys that don't give him info, right?
Yeah, like
those
the
are the
Chargers.
guys that he tears down.
The Chargers forever, and they suck ass until this year.
Well, because Telesco, that's why he was kind of higher on the Raiders last year, and now he's out again because Telesco's gone, and I don't think he talks to Spytech.
He's real close with George, not George, with what's my boy Klatt? What's Klatt's first name?
Joel Klatt.
Joel Klatt. Joel Klatt was all around the Colorado, team, around Coach Prime, around Shador, more than probably anyone in major media. You know how Joel Klatt is. Joel Klatt is a guy that's so button tight and square and do-righter, and he loved Shador, bro. He loved him. Talk about
you and I did too. If people want to go back on this YouTube channel, you can catch me. What was it? Last December, the Raiders lost to the Jaguars, and I probably spent 20 minutes on this show lamenting the fact because I was so sure that Shador Sanders was going number 2. Because when you looked at the tape said, this is the most pro-ready quarterback. Cam Ward, you can argue, is a better prospect. But the guy most ready to step under center, just like Bo Nix last year, was Shador Sanders. And the fact that, I'm surprised by that. Okay, well, the market's spoken, and the total's 36. I'm betting under.
The last thing on this spread, then we're going to move on because we're taking too much time on that.
Yeah.
The last thing about it was that when I saw Colin knows Joel so closely, he trusts his opinion. Because Joel told him Caleb Williams was going to have difficulty in college. I mean, in the pros. He was just gung-ho on Shador, and he's a top 5 player in the draft. Even after all the stuff happened, like, it doesn't matter. He's going to still start at Cleveland. He's the best. And then they told him, hey, stop with that. And he did a complete freaking 180 on it and changed everything. Now it's negative Shador, negative Shador, negative Shador. So I wouldn't take too much into anything we get off the popular media. I just hope he's a fair shot, man, and he's going to
Colin, right? He's a company man. He's doing what the company tells him, and he works
Let's
for
get
Fox.
this past Fred.
He works for Fox.
He's
all right.
Smart owner of Fox Sports. He
yeah.
he built it. Like, think about it. I
Yeah.
don't watch Fox Sports until Colin went over there. So that's his baby.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, before we tear him down too hard, I will say that Colin is one of the hardest workers, and his show is so much more well produced than some of these other shows I do.
He inspired us to do this show. Like, without a doubt, he's definitely an inspiration when it comes to sports media talk. But now, like most people, I don't care if it's a reverend. When your church gets too big, you gotta become a worker with the underground and the underdogs over here in the wagering world. We don't like politics.
All right, let's get to the underdogs, and unfortunately, they couldn't come through for us on Monday night. The Dolphins. Okay, you know, it's so funny. I talked about it at the beginning of the show, and I feel that the game was not fairly officiated, and I was surprised. I'm like, why are we? Isn't New York a huge media market? Miami's not a big sports town. Anyways, it shocked me.
We'll talk about it when it gets to me. I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I go, one coach looks like, and what's the other one looks like? But you know what pisses me off more though is when I get a handicap wrong, because I know that some of them are going to get taken from us. We know that when we place the bet, it's a gamble. There's no sure thing, and sometimes we might not be able to foresee what the league wants. Because like I said, in my head, I would think New York would get the benefit of the doubt more than Miami. That Bengals one hurt even more. But let's start with the Dolphins. What did you see there? I think most people agree with us on the officiating, so we don't need to relitigate that. All I'll say is if that's offensive pass interference, we're never going to finish a football game because there'll be a flag on every single play. Unbelievable, that Garrett Wilson call, the roughing call that didn't happen. So not only are we calling ticky-tack stuff here, now we're letting them play over here. Kind of frustrating, and frustrating for the New York Jets. And I'm going to actually ask you, because I think that's a curious game for this Sunday with them hosting the Cowboys. But what did you see when the Dolphins got the win but lost Tyreek Hill for the season and maybe his career?
First of all, with Tyreek Hill, hopes he heals up. Tyreek Hill looked like someone who has a car accident with like a corporate truck and they survive. like you got a hood dude who's like waiting for some money, man. And they get hit by like a 18-wheeler corporate vehicle, but they survive and just break their leg or something. They're like, I'm about to get paid. That's how Tyreek Hill was looking. He was looking so relieved.
The other thing is, I think everyone was talking about him making. I think they shoot him up before they even put him on the card. I think that's how bad it was. I think there might have been a little morphine or Norco or some opiates running through his system when he did that.
It's a lot of relief too, man. He's a guy that, even though he has all this stuff they say about him and talk about him in the media, and he's all these issues with women and having a lot of baby mamas and children out of wedlock, he has some type of spiritual connection. And I feel like he was just relieved, and he was like thanking God that it was over. Like, if I play football again, I'm not playing in Miami. So this is over with as far as in this stage and chapter of my life. Or maybe he was saying it's over with for his professional career and he's about to ride off into the sunset, because I did see some tweets supposedly from his account that was a couple years ago that said that he was going to retire at the end of the contract. And his contract is up this year, right? So
it's either this year or next year, but I don't think he'd even be cleared for next year with how bad that injury looked. So
yeah, that was horrible.
He'll get his guaranteed money no matter what.
Yeah, bone was hanging out the skin, man. That was a horrible, incident. But as far as the game, bad beat, bad break, bad handicap. That's a bad beat and a bad break. The bad beat came with Allen fumbling on the first possession. Yeah. The Jets kind of established the run we thought they were going to do. And football is so psychological, Spread, because think about if the Jets score right there, 7-3. Now Miami has given up scores, I believe, what would have been 14 out their last 17 defensive possessions, right? So now it's like this is just another night of us getting ran over and getting the hell beat out of us. That fumble sparked some in that team. I haven't seen them play like that all year. As you know, they have a brand new defensive coordinator, Anthony Weaver, who was a player, so they probably relate to him, used to seeing him in pass himself. So he's having a difficult time getting a spark out that defense, but they played well that game. And it all started from Allen fumbling. Then he stayed in his mind when he gets the kick return. He's running down the field and not looking where he's going and just runs into the back of his own guy and tears his knee up. So just a horrible night for that kid, Braylon Allen, which I thought really started strong and this shows you just how fine a thin line it is between victory and, defeat in the NFL. Because if he scores a touchdown there, it's a completely different ball game. Then we started getting into the refereeing. I don't know if Aaron Glenn and one of those refs had words, because we know Aaron Glenn's been in the league forever, whether he's been a player, whether he's been an assistant coach. But some reason that crew was after him, because I've never seen it so blatant. And I've seen a lot of blatant, like favoritism with the calls. But this was unbelievable. Like that slamming Justin Fields out of bounds, like 5 yards out of bounds. It was one guy who slid. I don't remember who was running. It might have been Breece Hall. And the guy jumped on him and belly flopped him like a complete whole second after he was on the ground. And the refs just looked. And I said, oh, they're letting it be known. And Aaron Glenn's halfway on the field, and they're just telling him to back up. You know how they do when they turn to the mafia on you when they don't want to give you any calls and you're complaining about it. So poorly officiated, just a horrible job with that touchdown that they took back. It's several ways that we could have easily got to the cover and the outright victory in that game. So we'll say it's a bad beat on that part, and bad break with just officiating, that the fact that Aaron Glenn gets no respect, but the Jets did not help themselves. A lot of bonehead plays, fumble right before, right after they fumbled at the end zone, they fumble again, give them back-to-back possessions, allow them to go up 10-3. Also, they fumble right coming out the half. Guy takes a punt at the 3-yard line instead of letting it bounce in the end zone. All types of blunders. Like the Jets were not button tight. So even though the refs were working against them, they didn't help themselves at all in this game. What I will say is I think that now Mike McDaniels found a new toy in his tight end who's came over from your Las Vegas Raiders. Do you know that he was 2 touchdowns at plus 10,000?
Yeah, I didn't even expect him. I mean, plus 10 snaps would have been like plus 100. I mean, the guy, I didn't expect him to play.
I had him over 1.5 receptions at plus 115. I was like, that's easy. Yeah. He's going to get that. Yeah. But overall, just a horrible game, but not nearly as bad as the one that happened in Denver.
Oh, hey, just to give you a heads up, I'm going to add a couple, because we're not doing the Friday show anymore. If you want 5 Stars NFL picks, he's going to be on. You're doing Jay Money tomorrow, right?
Jay Money tomorrow, and then on Fridays, what we do is I do ski, and then we just run it on both our channels, on this one and that one. Just so Friday, I'm not so all the time, my whole life.
Just to give you a heads up, I'm going to add a couple games to the present right now, and the Jets-Cowboys is going to be one of them. But let's continue with the past. Like I said, to me, this one hurt more. I mean, I know sometimes these bad breaks and bad beats are going to happen, but this was simply a bad handicap, man. And what did you see as far as myself? I think I got a little bit caught up in the high school hype of Jake Browning and him being a local guy and me just wanting him to be good. Yeah. I don't know if he has the arm strength, and if you don't have the arm strength, which first of all, the only guy I can think of the below average arm that was any good was Chad Pennington. And that was 13 years ago. Yeah. Your decisions have to be rock solid. And I felt that the Bengals kind of realized how bad it was. And the whole team just was like, I don't think we can get this done. Credit to the Broncos defense. They were better than I previewed here on Monday. But kind of reviewing myself, got a little bit excited about the hype off the backup quarterback and just the Bengals are a bad organization and really shows you. I was joking around. I said Joe Burrow should get the MVP award just for making that team respectable because that's how bad that franchise is. What did you see there? And we don't want to just down the Bengals the whole time. Let's give the Broncos a little bit of credit as well.
Spread, this is one of my good friends since elementary. Yeah. J Dub, man. We got to bring him on one day.
All right.
Jeff, he's out in Memphis, Spread, and he actually is an expert on high school football and high school basketball. He always puts me on the new guys that's coming in. So you guys go follow my brother, man, J Dub. He messing with us. He say, yeah, Browning is trash. He loves Cincinnati. That's why I allowed him I threw it up because he's he said Zach Taylor's trash out. So he's a lifetime Bengals fan. You don't find too many of those guys. So he likes the Bengals, man. He's liked them for a long time since like the Boomer Esiason Bengals. So he can't stand Zach Taylor, and he's been saying he needs to get up out of there for a long time. And he's correct, man. Brown is trash, man. That's just what it is. He's not a pro quarterback. He has a fiance that looks like a pro quarterback supposed to have, but He doesn't play the game fitting to his relationship. Just put it like that. But Zach Taylor has to make a move. The Bengals can't just sit on the season and waste all of the money that they've put into T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. Those guys are going to just – one of them going to end up getting hurt, man. You know it, because now you're going to play lackadaisical half-ass because they're like, my season's over with. So I'm trying to be safe and not get hurt. And what's going to happen? You're going to get hurt. So they need to make a move while it's still early. Look at the division. It's still an opportunity in the division. No one's running away right now with the AFC North. So Bengals, stop being bums. Paul Brown's your great-great-grandfathers. You're the descendants of Paul Brown. He was a winner for Cleveland. He bought Cincinnati, and I don't know what happened. You guys moved up the river and just said, the hell with everything, because the Bengals have been really bad for a long time. They have spurts where they have good quarterbacks like Ken Anderson, and he got to the Super Bowl back in the game like 81 against the Niners, and Boomer Esiason against the Niners again. I think that was like 88 or something like that. And then you got now with Joe Burrow, but
Carson Palmer is a big what if, man, if he would have gone to a different franchise.
Well, I think that Carson Palmer, Burrow is going to learn from him. I'm sure Carson Palmer's in his ear and probably tell him, I told you, man, get away from these bums. I wasted my best years. If I would have came to the Raiders or somewhere a little bit earlier, you saw when I got to Arizona what I did.
Yeah.
Burrow's going to have to get out of there, man. He's going to have to get out of there for sure. They're going to have to make a trade. Jameis Winston is the guy. He can stretch the defense. He's just wasting time over there with the Giants. He's just on the bench.
Yeah.
It's like –
it would at least get Higgins and Chase bought back in, right? If I'm chasing, I know Wiggins is going to throw it up for me. I'm a lot more excited about my opportunities in the rest of the season.
What the hell are the Giants doing with him? Why is – you would think that Dayball would have said, okay, Russell can't play. Let me play Jameis. Why is Jameis there? What is he doing?
I was kind of disappointed he signed there too, with the Dart deal too, because obviously they believe Dart is their future, and we'll see how that turns out. I mean, we didn't really come into it, right? But I'm just, in my mind still, what did I see? I go, how is this guy any different than Justin Fields? I thought most of the good stuff that he did was on the ground. Dart's got a little more to prove to me as well there. Tough break for us, but you can't win them all. And we kind of know now to downgrade the Bengals until they make a move at quarterback. But it wasn't a complete wash on the last show because tennis continued to be profitable for us. And you told us how you're being a little more selective now, but that definitely paid off with Eva Lease defeating Kessler in 3 sets. And Lulu's son took out Eva Jovic, and that was at an underdog price. Any comments on those, or we just want to let them know that it wasn't a complete loss on Monday?
It was a complete bust. Eva Lice is really good young player. I knew her and Kessler would go over 2.5 sets. Great match by them. They kept me up a little too late watching that when I went to sleep. Luckily for me, it was rained out with Lulu's son. I watched her this morning take care of business and was able to double down because she went from, we got her at plus 150. She was at plus 125 when she went off. This is what I was telling you guys. She has too much from the baseline and a little bit too many tricks in her bag for the young Jovic. But Jovic is on the way. She's going to be a really good player. Lulu's son is in her prime at 24. She's always best on the grass, but she is playing better on hard court. Both of these ladies were coming off winning the tournament. So one of them was going to go on and say, you know what, this has been enough. And I knew it would most likely be the young lady with her flying from Mexico all the way to China. So bright future for Jovic, and Lulu's son look like she's getting her game back. We'll be playing her against some of the bigger favorites.
All right, 5-star, let's move to the present. In the offseason, we went over, and the 49ers had the easiest schedule in the league. I thought they were primed to bounce back. Maybe they got a little more healthy during the offseason, but the exact opposite has been the case. Is every player that we know, I mean, the only really like all-star caliber player they have left is Fred Warner. They've lost George Kittle. They've lost. I know we'll argue about whether or not Brock Purdy is an all-star, but at least a half point downgrade to Mac Jones. So they'll lose a half point there. No Ricky Pearsall, which is huge because no Juwan Jennings now either. So it's going to be the Christian McCaffrey show out there. They signed DeMarcus Robinson, who's okay for the Rams last year. Let's see what he does when he gets his opportunity. I know he's a good blocker. I remember McVay really liked him because of his blocking. And the other kid that was on New England. Who did they sign? Oh my gosh, I want to say Butte, but it's not it. Who was the kid from New England?
They signed with who?
With the 49ers. Kendrick Bourne. That's right.
He was a Niner. He started with the Niners though, so he really knows.
Yeah, and then he was on the Patriots, and then he came back. So Niners walking wounded out there. They're catching 7. Total is 46.5. So 5-star. I wrote this one up because I turned it in on Tuesday, but I did most of my work just right when I got up, so about 5 a.m. on Monday morning. And when I wrote it up, these injuries hadn't been announced yet. Rams minus 3.5. The line's doubled now. It's Rams minus 7. And that's, of course, with these injuries being out. Do you think the 49ers can keep it close here? And what are you looking for in this game tomorrow night?
As soon as the news came out this morning that Mac Jones was starting and the line went to 7, me and the group pounded it. So, guys, don't bring that jank. Don't go over there and bet $100,000 and make the market change. So 5-star in my group.
I don't think it's going to. I think you might be able to get 7.5 by kick tomorrow night.
I don't think so. I think it's going to start going the other way because I think the more sharp money is going to come in on the Niners just off the familiarity of the two coaches. We know that that's going to always be a rivalry. They always play close games. Now, McVay's ripped off 3 straight. Ever since he got that playoff win against Shanahan, he's been a little boring. Remember last year we posted it on there after we took the Rams against the Niners on the road, and he had his hand on Shanahan's head like he was his little boy. Yeah. So he's been a little boy in him, man. Now since he got a Super Bowl ring on him, and before that they were kind of like equals and stuff. And Shanahan understands McVay's system probably better than anyone. Even though I know they're a little limited on their pieces, I think that this is going to be a pride game for the Niners, who have, as you said, Fred Warner, Trent Williams. All of these guys are veterans. They've been in the league forever. As we talk about all the time on the show, tape. That's the great thing about the NFL. Even in week 17, when teams are 1-12, it's going to be some guys out there playing their butt off because they have to get to the next check. So I think that the 49ers players are going to show a little bit more pride than people think. I mean, look at the division. The division isn't out of hand for them to still get back in the race and still make the playoffs. They did win at Seattle. Not like they're terrible, so they did beat a good Arizona team. So in division, they're looking pretty good. So I think that Shanahan figures out a way to keep this within the touchdown. McCaffrey's lost a step, but I think he figures out ways to get him in the passing game, a lot of angle routes, screens, lining them out wide. Short week. We know that the Rams quarterback is getting long in the tooth, Stafford. So I think Salah, who's had a really good background against Matt Stafford. If you look, they won, I want to say 5 or 6 straight games when Salah was the defensive coordinator against them. And they finally broke through in the playoffs. But I think that this 49ers team is going to be okay. We are going to be missing Ricky Pearsall, who I have on fantasy, excellent receiver, underrated coming in out of Florida, but everyone who mattered knew about him. Jawan Jennings, he's been with the Niners forever, but they did do a great job. They got DeMarcus Robinson, who's not only going to bring some Rams intel about things they like to do in the passing and in the running game, but he also should be a little motivated to kind of show the Rams that, hey, you moved off me. Now here's my chance to shine. Also, the thing to look at is Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne got his contract with New England by his play in San Francisco. So he knows that system really well. He's not going to be someone who's out there lost. I think it's a chance for a lot of players to get a second chance at getting an opportunity in the NFL for the Niners. So I'm going to take that in division game like that. The Niners fans are going to be half and half in LA. They're going to take up half the arena.
More than that.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of Niners fans.
They're saying 60% on StubHub right now.
Those are one of my prime numbers is the 7, man. If it goes to 7.5, I'm not going to allow them to be a little nervous because we know 7.5. We talk about this all the time. If they put their hook out there, they want you to take their 7.5 in hopes that the game goes under 7. But I really think
a lot of smaller bets. I think the public's going to get home from work tomorrow night, sit down in front of their computer and throw a bunch of $20 to $100 bets.
Yeah, they're going to take the Rams, man. The Niners looked horrible last week.
Yeah, they looked horrible. That's why.
Brock Purdy's not the quarterback. And I've told you guys millions of times before what I thought about Brock Purdy. If anyone follows me on X, you guys know that when they said that Mac Jones was going to be the starter, I said it's not going to be a much difference. The only difference is Brock Purdy can scramble a little bit better than Mac Jones. But as far as in executing Shanahan's offense, they're the same guy. Mac Jones probably makes better decisions. So I think that it's going to be addition by subtraction for the 49ers at quarterback. So I think that the Niners are going to play well. I think that they're going to play really good for Mac Jones. And it's mighty funny to me that Brock Purdy all of a sudden said his turf toe was acting up after he shit his pants against Jacksonville. Like it didn't look like he was limping to me out there. Like he just was making bad decisions. But we're riding with the Niners +7.
Let me jump in on some other thoughts I have for that game. I think the over is correlated to your bet here. If the Niners cover the +7, it's because their offense did do good against this vaunted Rams defense. And you just gave all the reasons why that could happen. I know we normally look to unders on primetime, but I think the over correlated to the +7. One way I think to also approach this, and you can win both, but it kind of would shield you from the blowout if you're already on the Niners and the over, is take the Kyren Williams over 16.5 rush attempts. We've already talked about how McVay's got no problem just working these guys into the ground. And I think he's about ready to send Kyren Williams off to Atlanta or wherever he sent Todd Gurley last time after he's used him up, and have Blake Corum take that feature role next year. But I don't think they're going to be shy about I don't think they're going to be shy about just getting the most, just getting that last squeeze of juice out of Kyren Williams before they send him on his way. And another one I like is the 49ers field goal kicker, over 1.5 field goals made. He's had at least 2 this season. Shanahan's not as aggressive as some of these other guys. We don't feature him on kick the damn extra point, right? He sends his field goal kicker out there. This game will be played indoors. And unless, the game's on the line, like the Bears and the Raiders, these guys don't really rush the kicker anymore. And I was listening to, some of the analytics guy talk about it, and they basically figured out that the chance of a penalty is higher than the chance of blocking the kick. So unless the game's on the line, they're not going to rush them, which is why a lot of these, 50-yarders are going in. They're not getting the same type of pressure as usual. I like Eddie Pinheiro over 1.5 field goals made.
Yeah, that makes complete sense right there. I actually cashed that on the Jets game. I was so nervous before the half. I had Nick Folk over 6.5 points. That was the biggest bet I made on that game because it was that suck ass. Like, that's what you have to do, is look for angles with the field goal.
And especially when we're already on the Jets, it's kind of like a hedge, right? I mean, there's a chance you win both. I mean, we very clearly could have won both. But if the 49ers do fall short and they don't do the 7, it'll probably be because of red zone execution.
Right.
In which case, Pinheiro will just, go over that with ease. 5-star, let's stick in the present here, and I'm going to ask you about a couple games that I'm curious about here. We kind of already talked about the Browns and the Vikings on Sunday. We talked about Miami. They're taking on the Panthers there. Do you think Miami can keep this rolling, or do you think the Panthers can bounce back? The Panthers looked pretty bad last week in their loss.
The game's in Carolina?
Yeah.
What's the
plus
spread?
1.5. Panthers plus 1.5, total 44.
It sounds like they expect the Panthers to be like the Jekyll and Hyde team of the NFL from that line. But me personally, I wouldn't put a Canadian nickel on the Carolina Panthers. I think they need to be relegated to the UFL. They are a horrible franchise, and I don't know what their coach is doing over there. And I feel really bad for Bryce Young having to end up in that situation with a young coach that isn't prepared yet for the NFL. So with that said, I like Miami. Miami needs to get on a streak right now. I think their defense got a lot better last week with, the turn of events that happened with them making Braylon Allen fumble, kind of reminded them that they could play some defense because they were not inspired on defense all season long. Also, another situation where it might be, addition by subtraction. Like, let's be real about it. Tua kind of seemed relieved a little bit after what happened to Tyreek Hill. As bad as that sounds, he didn't seem too like he wanted the guy to get well, but it's not like he's going to miss him. I think he would much rather where he's dealing with my guy to Houston. Waddle is my guy to Houston, who he played with as well as his wide receiver one, who's a guy who doesn't complain, who isn't going to throw a fit about not getting the ball, who doesn't have a big opinion, who's just going to play ball. And we'll see the emergence of Malik Washington. I think that he's a good player, and he's going to get an opportunity to do some things. A-Shane is really good. I think he should be able to run the ball on Carolina. We will get a probably better Carolina effort. That's what the line's telling me. But just me, without factoring in the market or anything like that, just off of football alone, Miami should beat Carolina pretty easily as well.
The New York Jets, do you think they get their first win of the season? They're catching 2.5 at home against the Dallas Cowboys. If there's any defense that can make an offense look good, it's the Dallas Cowboys.
Over. Every game, that's the perfect over game. That's why they'll probably figure out a way to make it go under.
48. It's 48.
They'll try to figure out a way to make it go under. I don't know how they're going to do it, but it's screaming over, like completely on this game. We appreciate you for tuning in, Quinn. Thanks. You guys hit that like button. It's always us versus the machine. Yeah, if we're going with two of my favorite teams this year that I bet overs on all of their games have been the Jets, and it's been on Dallas. I've been taking advantage of the fact that the books have been looking at, now this is a free game from 5-Star. I've been taking advantage of the fact that the Jets are still looked at as a defensive team because Robert Saleh left, and now they don't really know what Aaron Glenn's going to do, the bookmakers, the AI. So the only thing that they're going to do is continue to use the model they've used in the past for the Jets, which is low scoring. And I knew from watching the lines last year, you remember I told you before the season started spread that, man, he needed to give Dan Campbell half of his check because Aaron Glenn was not that good of a DC. He was a good motivator of men, but as far as in X's and O's, he left a lot of holes in the defense. And I felt like anytime Detroit really needed to make a stop while he was the DC, they never got the stop. So I knew that the Jets were not going to be as good defensively this year as they've been in the past under Robert Saleh, but the books are still looking at them as the same type of team. Also, I factored in the fact that Fields and Wilson have a great connection. They were teammates, and he was his wide receiver one. He was his QB one back in Columbus, Ohio. So they really like each other. They have a good connection on the field. I think that if you notice, Fields plays more like himself, more like the quarterback we saw at Ohio State with the Jets definitely than he did ever with the Steelers. You still have moments, but he's still checking down the ball way too much. It's like if he doesn't see his guy open, he's just checked down. He's not giving his other receivers an opportunity. But they're for sure over team, and we know the Cowboys are an over team. They have the worst defense in the league, one of them, right up there with Miami and the Jets. Eberflus, I don't know what the hell he's doing. They're going to get him out of there. I'm sure this will be his one and only shot at being the defensive coordinator for the Star. And I know that offense is going to put up points against that Jets defense. I don't see how the Jets even stop the Cowboys from at least getting to, what did you say the line is, 48?
48.
That's pretty high. That's pretty
high.
They
got it implied around 26 or 22.
Yeah, I would have to go with a steal over. I don't know how they get there, but I think that they can get to the over.
5-Star. Being a Raiders fan, I know last week we definitely should have won the game. Things look hopeless this week, so maybe this is the week we get a W because the Raiders don't make a lot of sense. Honestly, from what I saw last week, if Colton Miller wasn't hurt, I would have been all ready to take the points here with the Raiders. Right now, feels like it's Colts or pass, but is this a shot where maybe the Raiders could upset the apple cart here, or do you think the Colts can kind of prove that they're a contender by covering the spread and getting a dominant win at home against the struggling Raiders franchise?
Shout out to my boy Dre. Dre, it's a sad October 1st. Yeah. Man, usually I would see you over there at Minute Maid, man. That's my boy, man. He's been rocking with me a long time. My boy Dre, man, one of the best dudes I know out in the A. Shout out to Dre. Man, I'm not taking the Raiders. And the reason why is because this seems like one of those games where Geno Smith is about to throw like 3 interceptions because the Colts really turn people over for some reason at home. And that's even before the season. You know that. Like, they always get a lot of turnovers, man. What's the line? Is it 7 still? 6.5? What is it?
It was 6.5 when I did the show with Tyler yesterday. It's 7 right now.
I don't like giving up 7 points to any NFL team. I wouldn't be playing this game at all. What I would play on this game would be the layups. I'd play for sure for Jonathan Taylor to score a touchdown. Like, that's almost automatic. I'd also play for Max to get a sack as well. What is it, 0.05 probably?
I don't have props up yet, I'm sure.
Yeah, see, he's probably would be 0.05 minus 130 or something. That probably put the juice to it because I think Max Crosby gets Daniel Jones to the ground one time at least because Daniel likes to scramble. And also, if he gets a bad read when he drops back, he gets frozen for a little second. That's just enough for Crosby Max Crosby is just a great game record. And I think at this point in his career, with him seeing that he can't trust his organization, they're not going to trade him. They're not going to get a viable quarterback so that he can actually be in contention. So let me just do numbers. I got to try to make the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. So I think that he has a good game as well. Also, I'd bet for the over on Adonai Mitchell. I think that they try to make it there.
I was going to say that. I think he bounces back, man. That was a rough game, but yeah. I thought the holding call was probably a little bit more of a mental mistake even than the other one, which felt.
What have they been making that tight end for them? What is his
Tyler Warren? About 63. But you know what? I looked it up. I was gonna, because I wrote up player props today, and I was thinking that just from the past, the Raiders have been bad against tight end, but this year they actually are in like the 20s for fantasy points allowed against tight ends. So Raiders haven't been as bad against tight ends last week and or this season so far. So I actually stayed away from Warren this week. I had a couple other ones that I'll give out here at the end. Quick, let's talk about it. Just the Saints, you're familiar with the team, even though they pissed you off a lot with their recent moves. Yeah. But we talked about Jackson Dart earlier, man. Do you think that there's a little bit of tape out there and they see that they're basically treating them like it's Justin Fields, like one read and go? No Malik Neighbors there. Saints are laying 2.5, a winless team laying 2.5. That kind of surprises me there. So the books, I guess, don't believe in Dart yet, because that would even say that at most the Superdome's worth 2 points. They think the Saints are a half point better than the Giants. I was a little surprised by that. What do you think of that game?
I think that they're going to use the Giants the next couple of weeks, at least these two, in order to make a killing, because they used them last week, and everyone, including myself, I was so mad. I never lose my money line parlay. I do a big money line parlay with my Will guys. That's all money lines that I trust in, and I make sure to check and see if any leaks, because we know it's going to be some dirty business, right? Spread. So this week was money line Florida, money line Miami. Was it Miami? Was Miami playing Florida this week? Did Miami play Florida this week? Was it this week? That was this week, right?
I can't remember. I didn't watch college on Saturday this week.
Hold on, I'm about to tell you exactly who it was. 1 second. Let me look at my.
While you do that, I'm going to answer this question from Dre. He said, Gino don't like Bowers or what? He hasn't been putting up numbers. I don't think Bowers should have even been on the field. He's not nearly – he's playing with that huge knee brace, and he's not moving the same. He's kind of like a plodding tight end. I think they probably would have been better off sitting him, and I think that's why Bowers' numbers are reduced.
Yeah. Thank you, Spread. So last week, the prior week before, these are the type we do. Like I had Miami Hurricanes versus the Gators times the Seahawks with the Saints and just unloaded on it, right? 2-team and minus 153, no sweat, right? So I do this every week. That's one of my ways that I always stay ahead with my guys who can afford it, right? Thanks, son. Miami did have a bye. And Chappie knows it. Chappie's in the group. Utah. That's right. So we had Utah money line, and we also had the Chargers and the Detroit Lions, and we unloaded. Dude, I was so mad about the Chargers like that, because when I'm looking at this game, all I'm thinking is this is Dart's first game against.
Yeah, I said the same thing.
Jesse Mentor, like, come on, like, but it was a book game. Like, even though both the tackles were out for the Chargers, I don't care. They still aren't supposed to lose that game. Like, come on, man. So they lose the game. So this week, it's going to be just the opposite. Everyone's fired up. If you didn't watch the game like we have, if you don't understand football like we do in this community over here at the Wagering World, Dart didn't do a lot. He did do the most important thing that I talked about on the last show, and that was self-awareness. He didn't try to do too much. He protected the ball, no turnovers, took what the defense gave him, and he used his athleticism and his legs. That's a great thing. Good job. Way to go for you. But passing the ball, if you could shut down the run, shut down Scatterboo and put them in situations where they're not ahead on the chains, and now he has to drop back, they didn't do too much. It's about time for Spencer Rattler to get an NFL victory. I think he's like 0-11 or something like that. It's ridiculous. He has never won a game as the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. He's Arch Manning's grandfather. He's Archie Manning the second. Is Spencer Rattler, man. So they got the paper bags back out down in the old Superdome, but I think that these guys are going to come to play. But I'm going to be honest with you, as a Saints fan, we have a horrible history against the Giants. Even when the Giants are their worst, they always used to come in New Orleans and win. So I won't be playing it, but I understand the angle and what the books are trying to do. So expect the Saints maybe to win this game by a touchdown, because for some reason the books know something that they're hoping the public doesn't see, because off the muscle, the public is Jackson Dart mania, in New York. So we're gonna have a lot of New York bettors betting on the Giants this week. Like, the Saints, they're gonna smack them. It's a reason for those lines. It's always, if the line looks funny, what spread?
Must be money. 5-star. Speaking of money, there's only one bet that I gotta run this one off you. Usually we talk, but I just submitted this one right away.
Okay.
The Houston Texans. If the Texans were 3-1 and you guys had a different offensive coordinator, I think we would be talking about this defense the same way we talk about the Vikings defense and these elite defenses, the Rams defense, the Broncos defense. I think this defense is outstanding, and it could arguably be the best in the league. They've been put in some tough situations by the lack of offensive production so far. But what's better to get right than a game against the Tennessee Titans, right? Find a little mojo, get Nico in the end zone, get that offensive line moving forward, play with the lead, establish your new running back, Woody Marks. Now we've moved Chubb into a short yardage back where he should be at this point of his career, and we got an explosive guy in the backfield. Your guys learning on the job. Maybe you'll end up being good. But this Baltimore Ravens team, I can't. I know they're at home, but Cooper Rush against that pass rush, no. And the D'Amico Ryans, the way he schemes, no. I just don't think it's going to happen. Only bet I made so far this week, Houston Texans. I'm worried it's going to be a public side, though. Your thoughts, man? Is Houston the right side here?
I caught it at +7 spread as soon as it dropped, and I texted to my clients, and by the time they got it, it went to 3.5. So hopefully some of those guys got it. Some of them were saying they didn't see the 7. And the thing is that
wait, on the Texans?
Yeah, the opening line was +7 on it.
Before Jackson was ruled out.
Yep, before it was ruled out. When I bet it on Sunday, like midway into the Texans game, because it was +7. Because I already was thinking if Lamar played, that 7 was too much, just off the fact that D'Amico's defense was good last year in the playoffs against Lamar, and ended up with Bobby Slow threw that game away by getting too fancy with his play calls. And that's kind of why I think he got fired, was that game. But this year, the Texas defense is elevated. It's on another level this year, man. It's on another level. I watch them every week because I'm a fan of the team. A lot of people outside of Houston aren't paying attention to them. They're more just caught up in the gossip part about the CJ Stroud falling off and sophomore slump and what happened to CJ and making jokes. That's all that they're worried about now. And I'm watching football, and I've told people several times that there's no better defensive play caller in the league or schemer than D'Amico Ryans. Even when they lost to Tampa Bay, he had the guys in the right position. They just didn't make the play. He is awesome at getting together a game plan. What we will have to be careful for is, like you said, the public money, because we've talked about it before. Good teams win, great teams cover. Special teams are teams that can win with the public on their back. But the Texans did win last week with the public on their back. They were 70% of the money was on the Texans last week against the Titans. That's what made me a little scared of it, because I should have put the Texans money line because I knew they were going to win instead of the Chargers, and it would have paid more. But I think in this situation, the Texans should win this game, and I think they should win it by a touchdown or so, because all they have to do is score 20 points if Lamar isn't playing. If Lamar plays, that changes everything. I know he's trying to fight back and get a chance to play, but if he plays, this isn't the defense you want to play him against, because D'Amico kind of has the formula on him. He was doing what the Lions were doing last year, and that's blitzing and also putting a spy on him and then just funneling him to one spot where you want him, and then everybody converge on him. So we'll have to see. We know that the Ravens have a lot of confidence when it comes to the Texans. As you heard John Harbaugh say, this was their good bright spot. So that's some bulletin board material for the Texans. But I got +7, so I'm in an excellent spot. I'm going to just sit where I'm at. I'm not going to even bet it. I should have took a money line and got the +2. I think it was +260 at the time when Westgate dropped it. But, yeah, I think you're on the right side. 2.5, depending on – right now they're going to play dirty. They're not going to let us know.
I got it -1.
It's a pick 'em now, right? Pretty much.
Texans -1 offshore.
Yeah, they must know that Lamar's playing in. Because
I
they're
think he's
trying.
not playing. I think
I
if he
don't
was
think so.
playing,
It doesn't even go with their whole storyline with his hamstring if he plays. Right?
Yeah,
Like
I'm expecting Cooper Rush to be out there. Yeah, J-Rock said they announced him out 2 to 3 weeks. I haven't double checked that,
but
I
they did say I just announced this after that. I saw that as well, J-Rock, but then I saw was it the guy from inside the NFL? No. It's one of those guys who has in Pro Football Network. He said that Lamar was saying he might play still. So
yeah.
We'll see. But if it goes into the game with Cooper Rush as the quarterback, that just isn't the Ravens offense. And I don't see D'Amico letting the Tex let it'll be different if it was the old Ravens defense we've had from the past, right? Their whole thing with the Texans, they have to stop Derrick Henry. They can't let it turn to a Derrick Henry game because if he breaks off 2 or 3 long runs in the first half and now they're playing from behind, they're in trouble because now you're in a situation where the defense is kind of knowing what you guys are going to do and they could just continue to protect the lead by feeding Henry. So the Texans are going to have to punch them in the mouth in the first quarter and get ahead early and make the Ravens play from behind so they can't just lean on Derrick Henry because that is the one way to victory, one road to victory is running the ball because the Ravens have ran the ball on the Texans good in the past. But we all know that the Texans are a good defense. They only give up 16, 15 points per game. You know, they haven't given up over 17 this year in the game. So I think it averaged out to maybe 9 or 8 points a game to average, but they gave up 17 in 2 games and none last week. So the Texans are really good, man, on defense. I'd play the Texans.
All right, for the rest of 5 Stars NFL breakdowns, check out Jay Money tomorrow, Ski Profit on Friday. Let's move to college football Thursday. Sam Houston State -2.5 on the road at New Mexico State total 54.5. How are you approaching this one?
I don't know a lot about either one of these teams. I used to know a lot more about Sam Houston, but then their coach left. He took a lot of the guys, but they still have their quarterback from that team. Well, he was their run quarterback. They had a different quarterback that they used to use when they were throwing the ball. As it stands right now, I'd still lean Sam Houston. Both of these teams are looking for their first victory. I still would lean Sam Houston because when it's 2 teams in these type of situations, I'm going to lean to what's the high school talent that you're getting. And Sam Houston is getting the leftovers from Texas. And I'll take the leftovers from Texas anytime over the second best guys in New Mexico. It's just Texas has a much better high school system and provides a lot better players. And that's all it's going to be at Sam Houston is Texas guys. So just off that alone, I'd take Sam Houston in this one and lay the 2.5. I don't think New Mexico is a good team. Either one of them aren't a good team, but I think that it's more talent on the Sam Houston side. So I definitely lean Sam Houston on this game.
All right, let's move to our next game, and then it will be on Friday night. Not New Mexico State, New Mexico. They're traveling out to California. San Jose State total 58.5 against the Spartans. How are you approaching this game?
Well, this New Mexico team is a really fun team to watch. What I like about them most, they upset UCLA and they covered against Michigan. They have a decent quarterback at Jack Lane, 818 yards, 7 touchdowns, only 3 picks. He's played pretty well against top-notch competition. But the main thing that I like about this team is their coach, man. Their coach, Jason Eck, is a hell of a play caller. He came from being the offensive coordinator at North Dakota State first, and then he was coaching in Idaho, and he took Idaho to new heights. They had never been a factor in FCS football. So now he got into the playoffs. I think they actually won 1 playoff game. He goes and takes this job in New Mexico. Some of the slickest play calls you're going to see. He did 1 spread. You probably saw it on the highlights against Michigan where he had the guy come up like he was going to get the snap on and do a quarterback sneak. And instead, they snap it between his legs. It goes to the eye back. And, of course, everyone's converging on this quarterback sneak. And the tight end just slips to the back of the end zone. He just flips it to him. It was just a sweet play. And he's always drawing up these type of plays. And I think he's going to be a little bit too slick for the ex-Navy coach. I forgot, Nehemiah or whatever his name is. They used to coach at Navy, the coach over there at San Jose State. They got the same quarterback who's been over there the last couple of years, Walker Eget. he's decent. You know, he's turning the ball over less than he has in the past, but they just have never really recovered from losing their head coach and him going to Brennan, going over to Arizona. Took a couple of the guys, and then some more guys like Nash graduated and ended up going to the pros. I just don't think they have the talent that New Mexico has. New Mexico has some really quick running backs, some good receivers, and a lot of confidence coming off winning in UCLA. I think that they're a team that thinks a lot more about themselves than the books do. So give me New Mexico plus 2.5 on the road on this one, and they probably win this game money line as well.
All right. Final game on Friday night. Western Kentucky travels to take on Delaware. Highest total of the 3 games we've talked about so far, 61.5. What's the look in this one?
That's a pretty high total, but both of these teams are known. Well, actually, let me put it like this before I say that. Western Kentucky is known for scoring. Delaware has moved up now. The Delaware that I was watching and used to bet when they were playing FCS, they ran more of an option style offense. But they changed things up because, new personnel came in, and now, man, they're really throwing the ball around. Winning upset Florida International pretty handily on the road, beat a good UConn team, put 44 on them as well. They got blew out by Colorado, but they just didn't have the manpower to match up with them. But what I like most about this team is the quarterback, man. The quarterback for Delaware, he's a really good player, man. He can really throw the ball around, doesn't have any fear of, taking any hits and things like that. He'll stand in the pocket and distribute like you want. Western Kentucky, they have a quarterback over there. This kid, McIver, he transferred from a FCS school that threw the ball a lot. He put up a lot of crazy numbers. The offense isn't looking as good as we've seen the past offenses before over there. The coaches, he's been around forever. His brother was the coach of USC. His father was the coach for the Houston Oilers and things like that. So he comes from a complete football family, but they were putting up a lot of points in the past. When you look back, when they had guys like what's the kid's name that went to New England, Spread? Zach, what's his name? He played for New England. He was the backup for him, and he came from Western Kentucky. Man, this guy was putting up crazy numbers at Western Kentucky. He was
Can't
the
think
backup.
off the top of my head.
Man, we know this guy's name. Somebody in the chat, tell us who's the New England quarterback from Western Kentucky.
I'm looking right now.
Yeah, you know who it is. It's a crazy little name, and we're gonna just be like, when we see it. Zappy, that's him. Zappy. It's Zappy.
Oh, Bailey Zappy?
Yeah, Bailey Zappy. Pardon me.
Okay. Yeah.
I got stuck for a second there. Bailey Zappy was the quarterback there, and you remember ever putting up ridiculous numbers. Yep, thank you, Jay Cash. I appreciate that, brother. Got stuck for a second. We don't have anyone in our ear telling us any information we go live. We got to come out with our own, man. Appreciate it, Sheen. Yeah, so Bailey Zappy put up crazy numbers under Todd Hilton. Now he has a quarterback that isn't as talented, man. They're not putting up the numbers that they usually put up. And I think the Delaware is going to be really hyped for this game. What I do have to see is if Delaware's quarterback got hurt last game, because I was seeing something about that he had a chance of maybe being out. So keep an eye on that for sure. But them being able to go on to Florida International last week and play as well as they did and shut down an electric player like Keon Jenkins is enough for me. Delaware has always been a really good program, and just they played on a lower level. And I think that them being at home is going to be very, very important in this one. So give me the +3 at home with Delaware. I think their battle test is similar like New Mexico is. So I like them at home definitely against Western Kentucky.
All right. 5-star, the WNBA Finals kick off on Friday night as well. The Mercuries are +3 in Las Vegas taking on the Aces. Maybe Mark Davis is a good owner after all. He's just in the wrong sport here, as the Las Vegas Aces are once again in the WNBA Finals after they missed it last season, right? But they had won the championship the 2 seasons before that. So they have to feel comfortable back here. I'll be honest, the Mercury were not on my radar when I was looking at contenders there. So a big win for them to advance. I know you wanted me to look at this, and I have to confess I spent By the time I finished player props, we were about 10 minutes from showtime. I didn't get a good breakdown from it. So as of right now, I'm not going to play it. If I do, I'll get it from our guy Ski. Did you have any of that, or I can just give you out
No,
the player props that I didn't say?
we'll say to everyone to see Ski on this one.
Yeah, right. I mean, sometimes you gotta just admit, right? Yeah.
I'll be on with Ski tomorrow, but what I would definitely look at is, of course, Asia Wilson, whatever her props is to go over, because she's been doing that every game since she's been on this crazy run here in Las Vegas. And I know that the Vegas team is more talented, but you have to be wary of a team as talented as Phoenix as well, because they have Sabala, who's a really good player. So, yep, Ski has a ticket for plus 1,800 to win a chip. He did tell me early in the year he liked them in Seattle. You're right. So he has a nice ticket with that. Alyssa Thomas is OG, so she plays really aggressive. So I know that. So I can say as Aces, be careful, because I know you're going to be the big favorites in this one, but don't sleep on Phoenix.
All right, let's move to the people segment, the Ball and Parlay. And since I didn't do my WNBA prep, I got 3 player props to give out for the Ball and Parlay. I'll go ahead and start, and then I'll let you take us home. The first one I got, let's head down to New Orleans. We talked about this game earlier, but I'm taking Alvin Kamara over 57.5 rushing yards. Here's my idea here. Looking at that Giants defense, that pass rush is off the chain, but they are still a little vulnerable on the ground. Kamara is still an excellent running back. It's just, some of these players, and, talked about the Texans defense. When you're not winning, you don't get a lot of attention. But let's look at what Kamara's done so far this season. Kamara's averaging 64 yards per game. He put up 99 yards against the 49ers, and they have at that point had a much better run defense than the New York Giants. And he put up 70 yards against the Buffalo Bills. The New York Giants, though, like I said, this pass rush is awesome, but in 4 games, they've given up 465 yards rushing. So I think that, the Saints will be smart. They're going to rely on their best offensive weapon, and I think Kamara goes over 57.5 yards. With another game that we talked about, and you talked about the connection between Garrett Wilson and Justin Fields. I'm going back to Garrett Wilson after he was robbed on one of the worst offensive pass interference calls that I've seen. I think he gets it back right this week, and I don't think the refs are going to steal it from him this time. But once again, we're targeting a weak defense. The Cowboys have allowed the most receiving yards to opponents this season. The Cowboys have allowed 827 yards to opposing wide receivers through just 4 games, just giving up. Cowboys through just to wide receivers, not even tight ends and running backs, just to wide receivers, giving up 9 touchdowns so far this season. So I'm expecting Garrett Wilson to bounce back and prove he's one of the most talented wide receivers in the league. And finally, another game that we talked about, and it kind of goes in line with my pick of the Texans at -1. Give me CJ Stroud over 219.5 passing yards. He's only averaging 208 yards per game, but look how he's got better as the season's going on. Only 188 yards in week 1. Then he had 205 and 207 in week 2 or 3, 233 yards. Yes, it was against the Titans, but I like that he's trending in the right direction. And sometimes, just like a basketball player needs to get to the line and get the free throw, you need to just go ahead and throw that ball, watch Nico Collins run right back in the end zone, and that's how you kind of get some of that mojo back. And I think the Texans did find that. Not only that, once again, attacking one of the worst defenses in the league against the against the pass. The Ravens have allowed the 4th most passing yards this season, 1,084 so far in just 4 games. They've allowed opposing quarterbacks to throw for 9 touchdowns and just 1 interception. This is the week to start CJ Stroud in your fantasy league. It's going to be his best game of the year. Give me CJ Stroud over 219.5 passing yards.
I like it. All right, man. Let's get to the tennis. That's what we're going to do. We're going to start out over in Beijing. And, we've been playing the China Open. I like Amanda Anisimova over Jasmine Paulina. Anisimova just is another level than Paulina. Paulina has made it a lot farther in the later stages of her career. She didn't really become a top 20 player until she was maybe 26, 27. But she's number 1 in Italy. Really lovely girl, really kind-spirited girl. But I just don't think she has enough, firepower to stay with Anisimova. She'll probably push it to 3 sets, show a lot of fight. Anisimova probably be making a lot of errors early in the match. But when it's all said and done, give me Anisimova at -180. Also, we're going to go back with Lulu's son. She has the young girl, Jimenez Castasiva. We owe her because she beat us a couple weeks ago. I think she upset Maria, but she won't upset Lulu's son. Lulu's son has been playing really well, coming off a tournament win. It's time to stack her wins. She's playing these 250s. She's trying to, keep her ranking because she had made a really high jump in the rankings last year when she went far in Wimbledon. I think she went to the quarterfinals, but she didn't back it up this year, so she lost a lot of points. So she's trying to win as many matches and tournaments at this level as she can. I think that Lulu's son is just more talented, just a better, just better from the baseline than Jimenez Castasiva. So give me Lulu's son at -150. That'll be in Suzhou. That starts at 7 p.m. actually this evening in that specific standard time. So where you guys at, it'd probably be about 9 p.m., but it's definitely worth the play. I also like some ATP, man. I was looking at Shanghai. I saw Baltic Van de Zandschulp. I always like to just fade him. His ass. He does.
You know what I call him?
What's
Sandshell. I just call him Sandshell. That's kind of his nickname over there.
Sancho is sand shit. Yeah. He's not good. Give me Nuno Borges at -120 against him. Nuno needs a victory bad. Nuno's lost about 8 straight matches, and I think Van der Zandschulp has 2. He's lost around the same amount, but the difference is that I just think the Nuno's a much better player, and I think that he'll get on the win side as they play. I think this is Shanghai 1,000 or 500? I think it's a 500, right?
Good question. It's a 500. I'll look right now, but off the top of my head, I think 500.
Yeah, so you guys got a plethora of prop plays for my guy.
No, 1,000.
Oh, yeah. So Nuno Borges for sure. Zandschulp will probably quit. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Zandschulp will probably squeak out the first set 7-6. Nuno Borges will smoke him in the second set like 6-2. And then he'll be up like 3-0 or something in the break with a break in the third. And then Van der Zandschulp is going to quit. I already know he is. So if you guys are betting on that one, try to bet on a book that pays for people when they retire, because Van der Zandschulp might just quit. But I do like Borges in that match. And, of course, I said I like the American Anisimova against the young Italian lady, Paulina, the number 1 Italian lady, Paulini. And we're going to stay rolling with my girl, Lulu's son. I think that she can get it done against a young girl from Andover. Anything for the people before we get out of the spread?
No, good show today. We went a little longer than usual, but since we're not doing the Fridays now, I'm going to be peppering you with some of my NFL questions on Wednesday. But, guys, for the full breakdown, make sure you guys are checking out 5-Star tomorrow with Jay Money, and then, of course, on Friday with our guy, Ski Profit.
Yeah, man, I just got a little overwhelmed with doing so many shows. I stopped doing ESPN 97.5 on Fridays as well because it was too much, man. And with me trying to also win to take care of business for myself, it was like, man, when am I going to get in some study time? I'm doing all of this, stuff for free out here and throwing all this information out here, which is good. And it's what I want to do. I want to help everyone be better, but I got to also take care of myself and make sure that I'm having time to do what I need to do to take care of my business, and that I'm not slacking when it comes to my private group, because I was so tied up in all this stuff, man. I was slacking a little bit with my plays. Now we're getting it back together. We're on the tennis doing well, and we're about to make some money. We made some money on the baseball as well. You been watching the baseball spread?
I have not. I will fully admit it. I have not seen one. I was talking to my buddy at work today. I said, did the Reds win last night? He goes, no.
Oh, they got the hell beat out of them. That was so funny. That wasn't even close. Like the first pitch, I think Ohtani went yard on.
Yeah.
But they picked the wrong guy to start. He wasn't ready for that. But Spread and I'll be here about an hour and 30 minutes on Mondays and Wednesdays, and just really get off into the meat of what we saw the prior week so that we could take notes and be ready for what's coming up. And then we'll always talk about the Thursday and Fridays, and also Spread will be throwing in some NFL games as well that he has questions about that we'll try to go over as well on Wednesdays. But Fridays, it'll be right here on the channel as it's been the last couple of weeks, and you'll see me and Ski, and we'll talk about probably 3 to 4 NFL games, probably 3 or 4 college football games. So overall, you guys will get plenty of plays from me, plenty of plays from Spread, and most of all, we'll be spreading the knowledge with you guys and the data so that you can be a smarter better, because most guys that are in here are their own bettors, and that's a good thing, man. I love that iron sharpens iron on the wagering world. Hey, for my guy Spread Astaire on 5 Star in Vegas, as always, I dedicate this show to the greatest Houston sports fan I know, and that's my father, John H. Lindsay. I do this for you, Dad. Hey, guys, it's always us versus the machine. We'll see you guys on Monday.